pretty sure no matter what I do, I'm always just gonna look pale as death. Yep, pale as death. I mean, what can you do, really? What can you do? A whole lot of nothing. Just looking like pale white death. Hi, I'm Jen, and welcome to my podcast. Hi, I'm Jen. The podcast where I talk about whatever I want because I'm alone in my house, and there's nobody who can stop me. So, me and my best friend Rachel, shout out to Rachel, we just got back from seeing Lady Bunny at the Bricktown Comedy Club, and ooh, it was hilarious. I did a lot of scream laughing. Just hilarious. It was crass, it was raunchy, it was very entertaining. It was exactly what I was expecting from Lady Bunny. I've had the pleasure of seeing a couple of drag queens that didn't get their start on RuPaul's Drag Race. A lot of drag queens that people know nowadays are exclusively like Drag Race girls. So like, or even exclusively Drag Race winners. So like Trixie Mattel, Bianca Del Rio, Jinx Monsoon, Bob the Drag Queen, and I have also had the pleasure of seeing all of them. Thankfully, their popularity allows them to tour the country and make stops in Oklahoma City, and I absolutely love it. But I've gotten the chance to see Sherry Vine. She was hilarious. And nobody knows who she is because she's not on Drag Race. And like Coco Peru. I haven't seen Coco Peru live. I don't even know if that's a bitch who like still tours. But if I ever get the chance, I'm definitely going to take it. Right. I'm a little more prepared this time. I have water in case I start choking on myself again. I mean, I already look pretty much dead. So, yes, went to the Bricktown Comedy Club, saw Lady Bunny, her whole spiel, her whole set, her whole performance. Loved it. Amazing. It really is like the type of drag that I was initially introduced to when I was a teenager. Going to the Rec Room. If you Oklahomies remember that establishment, that was an all ages club because it didn't serve alcohol. But it did have like I think like a 10 o'clock or a 10:45 drag show, and then like a 1 o'clock drag show. So it was a fun time. I worked there for a little bit. Met a lot of great people there that I wish that I kept in touch with. A lot of people I'm glad I don't keep in touch with anymore. It was a great part of my, I can't even say childhood. It was a great part of my experience being a gay person in Oklahoma City. Really enjoyed it. Still don't know how to manage this hair, so it's just going to do whatever it wants. So yeah, it was, and even like some of the drag shows that I saw in Minneapolis, like kind of did like the same humor where they're kind of like chopping their own songs and then putting their own humor twist to it. It's wonderful. It's I guess you could say that I I appreciate all types of art. I appreciate all types of drag. I love comedy, so I really love me a comedy queen, and I always will. I don't care a lot about the pageantry, because you can make anybody beautiful. Beauty is also very subjective, and it's I love when people are really quick-witted. I love when people are, very outspoken. I love when people are just funny. And not everybody can be funny. And a lot of people would say, like, humor is subjective too. Sure, everything's subjective, especially when it comes to art. Everything is subjective. But being beautiful is not a talent. Being funny is. Point blank, period. Being funny is a talent. Being beautiful is not. Look at the world's most popular drag queen right now, Trixie Mattel. When I first was introduced to Trixie Mattel, as well as when the majority of the world was on RuPaul's Drag Race, season 7, I think. And I was like, thank goodness this bitch is gone. And then she came back, and I was like, why? And then she was eliminated again, and I'm like, this is correct. I didn't think that she was funny. I didn't like her style of drag, even though it was toned down. Like I said, this hair is going to do whatever it wants. It just wasn't for me. I wasn't like, die, bitch. But I was very much like, okay, okay, you had your time and now you're gone. Okay. I immediately was drawn in by Katya. That type of humor, that type of drag, that type of performance. And she did like contortion and gymnastics and stuff like that. And not every queen is doing that. And to be fair, what Trixie Mattel's doing, not a lot of queens are doing that, where she's playing, like, what did she have, like a lute or something, and harpsichordion or whatever, and she plays like these obscure country instruments, but she also sings, and she also writes, and she also, she does a lot. I did not immediately understand the appeal of Trixie Mattel, but immediately understood the appeal of Katya. So when somebody told me about on YouTube, and they're like, you haven't seen the web show that Katya is on? And I'm like, no, tell me more about it. And they're like, well, it's Trixie Mattel and Katya. And I remember going, ew, why? She's like, what do you mean? I love Trixie Mattel. And I'm like, well, of course you do. You're like a little straight girl. Of course you like Trixie Mattel. Watching all of their content, watching Trixie Mattel doing watching them doing The Bald and the Beautiful, watching them doing Trixie and Katya live, even like their short-lived Substack and their books, their coloring book. So I guess they have 3. That's how you do it? 1, 2, 3. Don't mind me, I haven't been drinking. But yes, all of their content, it's their humor together is very much my kind of humor. I was talking to somebody about Bald and the Beautiful, and I'm like, I just have it on in the background most days because it just feels like I have friends over and they're just talking amongst themselves, because it's very much very familiar. I definitely understand Trixie Mattel's humor now, and I'm really, really glad that I was able to become more familiar with like the better parts of Trixie Mattel, because if it was just laid to rest, if we only ever saw the personalities, the talent, the traits of drag queens that as it's portrayed exclusively on RuPaul's Drag Race, holy shit. Sorry. Then, God, there are so few queens that any of us would probably have any interest in. And because I don't give a shit about what Trixie and Katya did on RuPaul's Drag Race either time, because they also both did a season of All Stars. That's not what I care about. I care about what they're doing after it. Same with Bob the Drag Queen. Like, I'm not going back and watching whatever season he did. I'm watching all of his stand-up, or I'm watching his and Monet Exchange's podcast, or what did he do? We're Here, because that's what I'm interested in. I love how Drag Race is a great jumping off point for people, but the people who really, the queens who are really capable of taking that jumping off point and then turning it into a career, just kudos. Hooray for y'all. And I'm very much surprised how many drag queens I've been able to see after coming back to Oklahoma City, because when I was living in St. Paul, I was living in Minnesota, but everybody was touring and they would stop in Minneapolis. I only ever saw, and especially because Flip Phone is also, they do production stuff out in Minneapolis. Like, they do their Flip Phone produced drag queen themed brunches like every weekend. There is Mercedes Iman Diamond, who I met years before she went on RuPaul's Drag Race. And I immediately, like, the first question I asked her was, do you have any drag kinship to the Imans from Oklahoma City? And she said, no, but I have definitely been asked that before. She's a doll. I love her. She is so sweet. Very honored that I got to see her before she got real big, before she did Drag Race. It was a place called the Townhouse in somewhere in St. Paul, somewhere around Snelling. If anybody from Minnesota ever watches this, I hope you know what I'm talking about. It's not called a Townhouse anymore. I don't remember what it's called now. I only went back to it like maybe a handful of times after it changed its name, but I used to love going to the Townhouse. They had amazing karaoke. They did amazing drag shows. That was the first time I saw Mercedes Iman Diamond, and so many other great performers there. But then, of course, Mercedes became a cast member at the Gay 90s, and everybody knows that the Gay 90s is where you go if you're straight. So I only went there a handful of times, and but loved it every single time that I went. And and then Flip Phone came around after Mercedes Iman Diamond was on season 11. I hope I'm getting that right. And then all the drag shows that I was seeing was during like the Flip Phone brunches, and I would still fight tooth and nail and invest what very, very little money I have, because remember, I have no income, to bring Flip Phone Productions to Oklahoma City, because I think that we can make it happen. I really do. And what a great way to bring more tourism to Oklahoma City, which is what the city is really looking for right now. And anyway, talking about drag. Because of the flip phone produced drag brunches, I was able to meet J. Jolie during like a Taylor Swift themed drag brunch that a girl I was dating at the time dragged me to, pun intended. I'm going to forget names. Kasha Davis, Darian Lake. Can't think of anybody else. Bianca Del Rio did do a tour, because she ain't doing the drag brunch circuit, but she did do a tour, and she brought it to St. Paul, and that was amazing to see. That's actually when I saw Sherry Vine, and I think I was like one of the only people there who actually knew who Sherry Vine was. Otherwise I don't remember any other just drag comedians coming through Minneapolis while I was there. Just the ones that were doing the drag brunches. But since moving to Oklahoma City, I've seen Bianca Del Rio again. Jinx Monsoon, Ross Matthews, not a drag queen, but drag associated. Kathy Griffin, not a drag queen, but drag associated. Monet Exchange, Bob the Drag Queen, Ginger Minge, Shea Coulee, Evie Oddly twice. I'm sure a couple others. And I know that Flip Phone did a big thing and in Minneapolis, and Sasha Velour was there. I'm pretty sure Willow Pill, maybe Sasha Colby, did something down here in Oklahoma City, and I couldn't attend. But I am so happy, like how much of that is able to come to Oklahoma City. Because I'm sure that when they get booked for those gigs, they're not like, oh, great, Oklahoma City. They're like, oh, Oklahoma City? Isn't that one of those states that like tried to ban drag because the world sucks? Yeah, it's a very exciting time to be alive. I've even gotten to like do a meet and greet with some of them, like got to do a meet and greet with Evie Oddly, got to do a meet and greet with Bianca Del Rio. Was hanging around the venue long enough that was able to catch Ginger Minge, and was like just very much like, really hate to bother you. I had like barbecue sauce on so there I was, barbecue sauce on my titties. Now the person that I was with, we ate at the Formosa right next to the Tower Theater, and I literally got sauce on my chest. And but I was like, I hate bothering you, but really glad that you did the Drag is Not Dangerous thing, and I called in, and it was wonderful, and I'm wearing the shirt, yada yada. And she was like, oh, hug. And I'm like, no, I got barbecue sauce on my titties. And she's like, a girl. So that was really nice. Really appreciated that. I believe a few, maybe last year. Yeah, it had to have been last year. It had to have been 2023. Adore Delano came through Oklahoma City. Another thing where like desperately wanted to see that but couldn't. It really is exciting that there's not really a reason for these people to be coming to Oklahoma City, aside from the fact that we just really enjoy for them to be here. It's not a huge market. It's not like there's anything else kind of really worth seeing in Oklahoma City. But just the fact that they know that there are people here that want to see them, so they continue to come here. That's really special. And thank you for any performers who come through here. PEG or Obsessed or whoever, could you please bring Trixie and Katya to Oklahoma City? Because I know you ain't done that yet. And you guys booked them in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Now let me tell you something. I know that Trixie Mattel is a Wisconsin native, but don't nobody do shit in Oshkosh. So you have no excuse. Bring them to Oklahoma City, please. I got to see the Trixie and Katya show live in Milwaukee, and I did it alone. It was like the week before I moved to Oklahoma City, and I so badly wanted to go to the This Is It bar, but really didn't want to do it alone, so I didn't. I did, however, go to like the outskirts of Milwaukee to some restaurant that became very TikTok famous for their colossal mozzarella sticks, and I do not regret doing that. They were sincerely colossal sized mozzarella sticks, so it's an order of 2 mozzarella sticks. And you know when you're poor, so you get like government cheese, and it comes in a block like the size of your forearm, just a forearm of cheese. So, and I think that's about a pound of cheese, maybe 2 pounds of cheese, maybe more. So it was about a pound of mozzarella cheese, like you would see in my forearm here, that is, you know, dredged and breaded and coated and then deep fried, and then I put it in my mouth, and it was amazing. Don't ask me what the place is called. I don't remember. I would have to scroll through my phone to figure out what it's called. And if I do find out, and I even find the video that I took of me eating that colossal mozzarella stick in my car, I'll definitely share it. Let's go ahead and get into the affirmation of the day. Affirmation music. No? Okay. That's fair. So I'm going to go ahead and just tell you something that Lady Bunny shared with her audience today, which was, I don't remember it verbatim, but it was something along the lines of, don't wait until you're too old to do it. Just do it now. Yeah, that sounded pretty good. I'm going to see if I can repeat that. What I say. Don't wait until you're too old to do it. Just do it now. You know, because if you wait too long, you're not going to be able to do it. Like, don't wait until don't wait until you have a colostomy bag to climb the Great Wall of China. You know, because by the time you actually take that chance to do it, it's not good time anymore. Something along those lines. Yeah, I butchered that. My bad. I distinctly remember, though, as soon as she said it, I was like, I should use that as the daily affirmation. Let me write it down in my phone, and then I didn't. So I should have taken the opportunity to do it, so that when later tonight, when I'm too old, it doesn't come back to bite me in the ass. You know, it's all about taking the chances to do what you're passionate about now while you still can. Yeah, that's what it's really about. You know, I was watching a movie yesterday called Moving On with Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlinson? No, just Lily Tomlin? Her. And first of all, I will watch anything with both of them in it. Anything with both of them in it. I still haven't seen 80 for Brady. I should. But any other movie that has, or show, have you seen Grace and Frankie? Oh my God, go watch Grace. Shut up and go watch Grace and Frankie. It's hilarious. But was watching Moving On last night, and you know, at one point, you know, there's like some, whatever that is, there is, it's like tension, and they're like in a little bit of a spat, a little bit of an argument, and you know, Lily Tomlin's character is like, you know, well, at least you have somebody who wants to love you. Like, I have nothing, I can't even, like, do the things that I love anymore. And then Jane Fonda's character is like, what are you talking about? You got to do what you wanted to do for your whole life. And it really made me kind of put things into perspective, because that's definitely something that I'll catch myself saying every now and again. Not the, you got to do exactly what you wanted to do your whole life. It was, but I'm like the eternally single friend. I've never been a serial monogamist, or never been the type of person that ever has to be in a relationship. Like, I am very much the opposite of that. I am very familiar with my own company. So if somebody isn't jiving with my company, then I'm not going to fight to keep them around too long. I've learned to be hyper independent, which they say is a result of childhood trauma. So yeah. But I'm not a codependent person. I'm a very hyper independent person. So that means that I have always been single, because I've never been in a position where I need someone. I want someone, sure, but because I'm never in a position to need someone, I've never, ever, my entire life, held on to somebody just for the sake of having somebody. And that is very much a double-edged sword, because whereas I've never wasted my time with somebody who made me unhappy, I also don't get into relationships ever. So, and of my friend group, I'm the only one who's single. The only one who's single. Everybody else is either married or in long-term relationships, and they're always like, oh, when you're not looking for it, it'll happen. And I'm like, sure. Hopefully I'll be one of those lesbians where when I'm at like the ripe age of, 42, then someone will come along and I'll be like, all right, fine, let's get married or something. I don't know. But bring that up because I'll find myself being like, yeah, but you have somebody to go home to, or yeah, but you have this or you have that. How we're always comparing ourselves to other people, even though we shouldn't. And then, but hearing Jane Fonda's character say that to Lily Tomlin, like, yeah, but you got to do what you wanted for your whole life. I'm like, yeah, I do kind of have that, huh? I've been able to live my life for myself the majority of my life. But I'm only 36. I say only because hopefully that's how other people see it too, is I'm only 36. And so yeah, there is still plenty of time. And I can honestly say I've never felt obligated to be in a relationship with somebody because of XYZ or anything. Which is another reason why when I was like, oh God, I really hate this job. I really hate the management I work for. I really hate the company I work for. I don't know what to do, and had to start seeking therapy to really pinpoint like what is this and what's going on. And they're like, well, it's normal to hate your job, but what you're experiencing is burnout. And I'm like, I really had to research what the hell was going on, because being in like a shitty job is one thing. And I will say this, I did stay in a shitty job because I was in college. And I was like, what's the point? Yeah, I hate it, but I go home, I don't have to bring it with me, I don't give a shit. If they ask me to pick up a shift and I honestly can't, I'm not obligated to, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, whatever. And then the moment I was like, oh, I can't stay here anymore, it was wonderful. It's like, no, sorry, I can't stay here anymore. I don't. 6 years I was at that dumbass job. Ooh, hated it. But I wasn't there because I was doing that job because I needed something to help me pay rent. I was focusing on college, you know. This job, being at this job, I'm like, I'm trying to turn this into a career, and it was a very hard lesson when it's like, this place is not for you. And I'm like, yeah, it's not. So now what? No. Full circle, right? I don't know, something like that. I don't know. What's that behind me? You might be asking. Nope, other side. What's that behind me? You might be asking. It's a poster that I haven't put up yet. No. I'll put it up eventually. I do want to, I have the intention of like covering up that whole wall behind me. We'll see what happens. I'm still trying to figure out like the best lighting, the best audio, the best whatever. Now that I am kind of working with some different equipment, and I'm not in the living room anymore, you know, hopefully it'll all work out. And if it doesn't, at least I tried, you know. I'm not doing anything else. Yeah. After the drag show tonight, which was wonderful, thank you again, Lady Bunny, my friend Rachel and I were like, ooh, it's only 6 o'clock. It's early. What do we do next? And right across the parking lot was a place called Tiff's Treats, which I had never been to before. Not sponsored, but I'm open to it. First time I've ever been to Tiff Treats. It's cookies, and I do like me some cookies. So we each went home with a couple of cookies. I got like the lemon sugar cookie and snickerdoodle, which is probably my absolute favorite. Something called the pecan pie cookie, and 2 others I don't remember. But we also, like, you know, signed up for their mailing list so that we know when some other good stuff is happening. And then we both got Tiff Witches, I think is what they're called, which is 2 of their fresh baked cookies sandwiched in between Bluebell homemade vanilla ice cream. Specifically, Bluebell. So that was very good. She did 2 pumpkin cookies for her sandwich, and I did 2 different types of their sugar cookies. One of them was like a birthday cake cookie, and then the other one was just like a normal sugar cookie. And it was incredible. Thank you, Tiff Treats. Again, not sponsored, but I'm open to it. Yeah, so very, very excited about eating those cookies throughout the week and not in one sitting on my couch. I'm saying this out loud to myself, Jen. Okay, we understand? All right, wonderful. Yeah. So, in drag, got some treats, courtesy of Tiff's. I really am hoping that somebody hears my call and we can get a flip phone to start doing some drag brunches in Oklahoma City. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the first step is finding venues to host these brunches. Now, I'm very familiar already with the Boom's drag brunches. I've only ever been a few times, but if you haven't, my Oklahomies, please go to the Boom and enjoy their drag brunch. I have seen advertised before the Blue Note doing a drag brunch. I don't know if they're still doing that. The Jones Assembly, I know, is a place that's known for their brunch, and I'm like, when I went there, I'm like, this is kind of the perfect venue for drag brunch that Flip Phone could do if we got Flip Phone in Oklahoma City. Come on, guys. Please? Please? Yeah, why not? I think we can do it. I think we can do it. We just need a few more brains, you know? We just need a few more brains, and that's it. And we have the talent. Are you kidding me? Between Oklahoma City and Norman, we have the talent. Speaking of talent, and speaking of the Rec Room, which I brought up earlier, you guys remember that place? Yeah, you probably don't. Did you know that Carmen Devereaux was Miss Rec Room? Carmen Devereaux, she's a queen who works at the Boom quite regularly, and we first met the year before she won Miss Rec Room, and she's still performing in these parts, and I'm so very proud of her. She's amazing. When I went to my first drag show after moving back to Oklahoma City, I was like, I'm not gonna know anybody. And as soon as I saw that face, I was like, I'm so happy of all the queens that I knew back then to still be doing it. I'm glad it's her. There are some other performers that I'm like, oh man, like what happened to them though? Because I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, very cool. Everybody go to the Boom. Enjoy their drag brunch and their other drag shows, and just enjoy the Boom. Why not? You're not doing anything. Well, you might be. I'm so used to not doing anything. I assume others are not either. So. I butchered the daily affirmation. Let's get into the song of the day. Ein Minuten bitte. Alright, you know what it's going to be today? It's going to be an Alanis Morissette song. Yeah, it probably should be a drag song because that's what I've been talking about today, but it's not. It's going to be Alanis Morissette. And if you don't like it, tough. My podcast, my playlist, my choices. So the song that I want to do is called 21 Things I Want in a Lover. It's from her Underrug Swept album from 2022. Can you believe it? Holy crap. I love Alanis Morissette. She is, I think, Jagged Little Pill is the first CD I ever bought with my own money at a Hastings. Yeah. Y'all remember Hastings? Probably not. If you remember Hastings, can you let me know? I just want to know I'm that long. Yeah, in Lawton, Oklahoma. Yeah. Jagged Little Pill. First CD I ever bought with my own money. Bought it at a Hastings because that's where you bought music when you grew up in Lawton. Yeah, I love Alanis Morissette. Of course, I had Supposed Former Infatuation Junkie, and then all the records after that. I finally got to see Alanis Morissette live in concert in Dallas this last June 2024. She went on tour with the one, the only, the great Joan Jett. So I also got to see her, I think for the second time. I might be wrong. But just, I cried. I really did, because it was just surreal that, like, seeing this artist, hearing this music live, that the same music that I would listen to over and over and over again in my bedroom, like where I would put on those headphones to my Walkman. I'm an old person. If you know what a Walkman is, please let me know. And I would just like turn it all the way up, and then I would be singing with it, just annoying the hell out of my family, I'm sure. She's a brilliant writer. I love the way that she writes music. Alanis Morissette and Brandon Boyd from Incubus are like twin flames. They're like so similar in how they write, in how they sing, in how they perform. It's insane. I also really like Incubus, and got to see them courtesy of my brother. Thanks, Matt. But yeah, seeing Alanis Morissette, seeing her just do what she loves doing and doing it so well, I definitely cried. Yeah, a lot of those songs are just so powerful and so heavy, and she is one of the few musicians where their writing really makes me think, and it makes me want to learn so much more about just everything. The only other artists I can think of off the top of my head that made me want to do that same thing is Prince, of course, Ani DeFranco, and like Tori Amos. Yeah, those are all just powerhouse, amazing musicians. I haven't seen Tori Amos. I really hope that she continues to tour so that I can finally see her. At some point in time, we were going to see her in St. Paul, I believe, at like some O'Shaughnessy theater or Coliseum, something like that. And it was also going to be like my sister's birthday. And my sister Kelly is how I know Tori Amos. My sister Kelly has an amazing taste in music. Which is probably a very biased thing to say, because it just so happens that type of music that I was introduced to as a young child, and therefore the type of music that I really enjoy as an adult, is the music that she was listening to when I was a child. So she's also why I like Prince. It's all her fault. So you can all blame her. But yeah, I think the show got canceled or rescheduled or something like that. Or like she was supposed to be flying in from somewhere, and then her flight got canceled, or she ended up having to work, something like that. Like it wasn't in the cards. So I have yet to see Tori Amos live, and I would still love to. Luckily, I have seen Prince, I have seen Ani DeFranco, and I will be seeing her again. And I finally got to see Alanis. Finally got to see Alanis Morissette after so many years of her being like my number one. Do you guys remember the first album, record, cassette tape, MP3 that you bought with your own music? I'm curious because I'm like, clearly that was a memory during my life that really sunk its teeth, because I have a shit terrible memory. But I know for a fact Jagged Little Pill is the first CD I ever bought with my own money. And I think the second was The Velvet Rope by Janet Jackson. Both from Hastings. But I think The Velvet Rope was Hastings and Duncan, Oklahoma. Yeah. Let me know if you've ever been to the Hastings in Duncan, Oklahoma. I bet you haven't. Okay. Sorry. that's all. That's all that she wrote. I think that's all that we need to do today. I'm not wearing a shirt of the day. No, I'm not. I'm just, since I was seeing Lady Bunny, I wanted to not look like a hobo. I'm just wearing a shirt. I think it's plum. I think it's plum. I don't know. When I went to band rehearsal today, they were like, hey, why are you wearing that? And I'm like, oh, shut up. So yes, no shirt of the day, my bad. Still no dad jokes. His bad.
Hi, I'm Jen's dad. Welcome to Hi, I'm Jenn presents Hi, I'm Jen's dad telling a dad joke. Have you heard about the new corduroy pillow? It's making headlines.
Can't get mad at him for not having any dad jokes. Just happy that he's feeling himself. Yeah, you got your daily affirmation. You got your song of the day. 21 Things I Want in a Lover. It's a really good song. And it's, if I ever do jump back into online dating, that's pretty much what I write as my about me. That's pretty much my bio. That's pretty much all of my prompts, is just the lyrics from that song. Because I'm like, I'm not trying to rewrite history. Just, you know, here you go. Here's the list. This song. Yeah. Very great. Okay. Good to see you. Good to be seen. I'll see you next time. Hi, I'm Jen.